Kathy Vick, Deeply Awake, Jets 2017. I think I'd like to call this one Perspective and Proportion because those are two words that have been coming through a lot. I do want to preface it by saying that I had a dream a long time ago in 2013. And at this point, I can't remember if it was a dream or a vision because it came alongside a meditation I had and 6 days of being in a sustained sense of no time and of perfection. And during that time, I had this vision or dream that there had been a change in reality. And when I looked at reality after this change, everything was out of proportion. And like in a field, there was a table and chairs. And there was a Facebook post around that time of a, I guess in England there was a rule that you couldn't have structures on property or something. And so a guy decided that he would do a sculpture of a large table and chairs under which his horsies could get shade. And that picture would come up. Now, the reason I bring all of this up is not because I've had another vision or whatever. It's because yesterday I was flooded with, I was right smack dab in the middle of it, and it was so much fun. Of this feeling, this reality that came over me in the afternoon and only steadied and solidified and got stronger and more sturdy, and it was just always there. And it's around this morning too. And it's really nice. I walked around at really saying this and believing it and saying it out loud. That really what I've done here on video is so beautiful. It's so personal and it's so heartfelt and helpful. And for many, for me included, but for many. And that everything's in divine timing. Everything is perfect. And it wasn't just, I'm sure the people who are watching right now have had these inserts too, where you can be driving down the street and then all of a sudden you're hit with this velvety smoothness of knowing that all is in divine timing, that everything is perfect just as it is. My guess is you've had that too. But this was different. This was knowing it. This was not just getting a hit of it and then comparing and contrasting. Because when I say you get a hit of it, what I'm inferring is that you're walking a dark path and you're getting a ray of light on your path. Well, no, this is more like yesterday and today. The path is really well lit. And the person on the path is just looking around saying, yeah, it's pretty well lit. And I see that I really belong here. That's how I feel. So there's a sense of reality to it. It really did start in the morning time. And it wasn't really, I don't go out of my way to do affirmations to remind myself how magnificent I am. Maybe if I did, I'd have an easier go of it. But I found myself prior to a more stress-inducing event. This place of just no stress, of deep appreciation, not gratitude, not acceptance, not approval, appreciation. And in that space, the reasons for appreciation just blossomed and blossomed. And it was irrefutable how acceptable I am to myself, how beautiful I find this creation of mine. And in that place, it's not possible to hate anyone in my reality, including those who, you know, have shown less than favorable intention and who have made decisions which have been which have created hardships in those who love them, for those who love them. So this morning, I thought a lot about perspective and proportion when I woke up, and I remembered that sensation of walking around the apartment, just feeling like, wow, this is really. It's not just talk. There is nothing to worry about, and it truly is well with my soul. Whew. I like it. So I have another week before me, as do you, and maybe in this week you have, like I do, events that will be occurring that, some of them I feel prepared for. Some I could be more prepared for. I can see that I'm been grappling with this time thing and sequencing and just my spectrum stuff. And I do this in a way that's not entirely helpful to me because I disconnect from tomorrow, so I disconnect from doing things that are going to make it easier for me tomorrow. I figured that out. It's like, okay, well, and so, and sometimes I just don't have the battery juice to help my future self. It's just like, you're on your own, lady. And that's kind of how it's been for the last, at least year. Future self, you're on your own. We'll deal with the bill tomorrow. We'll deal with the mess tomorrow. This is what it is today. And part of this process, the last couple of 3 weeks, has been to recognize that maintenance of the physical vehicle and the physical environment leads to a sense of competence and of self-confidence. And so these are such simple things that I just, you'd think that being a smarty pants I would know these things, but I don't. So is it a game of just how nice can I be to myself? Oh, well, that's not so hard. It's not such a bad thing to discover, to stumble upon either. So I can't really complain. I want to see this sense continue because this is brand new shit, guys. How I felt yesterday, how I feel now, it's new. I've never achieved this before. I've achieved a lot of mood states that I didn't think were possible. And then in the middle of it go, wow, I dig this. This is different. Feels like a culmination. It feels unassailable. Unassailable. It is breakable. You know who can break it? The only one who can? This one. So the concomitant thoughts I've had this morning have to do with this concept that a philosopher whose name I don't know, unfortunately, put out a postulate that I really agree with, and that is that we are not so much uh, what what we think we are. This is the social us. We're not so much what the other thinks we are. We are what we think the other thinks of us. And so this morning I was seeing that if someone is sensitive and psychic, then it's not so much what you think the other person is aware of about you. It's what you know they're aware of. You have, you have sense apparatus which are telling you what this person knows to be true about fill in the blank, them or you. That's the question. But but in a conversation or in a relationship, you kind of dive into the other person's reality. It's an electrochemical magnetic kind of thing. And I didn't really understand just how true this was, but literally it's like taking a bath. And some people you dive in, it's like you're bathing in razor blades. And other people you dive in and you're actually bathing in nice, warm, soapy water that smells great. And and if you're not aware of it as a sensitive, when you're feeling the razor blades, you might think that's you. Or you might associate it with the task at hand and not associate it with the people who are peopling that task. So, what do you do with that? First of all, if what other people, what my reality is what I think other people think of me, then there is a big opportunity for quantum reality. And there is a big, huge risk, I think, or I don't know, possibility for paranoia, dumping one's fear into that and projecting. And I think that's really what reality here is. It's this projection of we don't want to admit the shit about ourselves. We don't want to admit that yeah, we might not wield the fist, but we understand what turns hand into fist. That whole mentality. Um, this is a it's just it's one narrative. It's one bit of choice. And part of all reality creation is being able to jump the groove, imagining different outcomes, imagining different reactions from self, from others. Imagining a different reality is really as simple as imagining that things could be different interpersonally. And so what I'm getting at here is it just slipped me. What do you do when you're pretty convinced you know the reality of the other person or their flavor? I don't. Everyone I encounter is a galaxy. I don't know them, but I can feel them, and I know what I have easy access to, and what I have more difficult access to in someone's presence. Well, we were driving. My son and I were driving yesterday, and we were talking about his motivation and how, since he was a baby, really, time out and playing takeaway never worked with him. And so I followed the books and take away this, take away that, stick him in a corner, shame him, la 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 la. No, he turned into a little beast. The only thing that ever worked with that kid was encouragement and praise. So I'm driving down the road with him, and I said, "Now listen here. The thing is, young man, that if you know that that's your ticket, that to get you off your ass, you need encouragement and praise. And what if you're surrounded by people who are incapable of doing that? Well, then, you, something's going to have to give. So you could write a list of things that are very encouraging, praising things that are true, things that you know are accurate. You can carry that around in your wallet. And if you're surrounded by jerks and assholes, you can pull it out and encourage yourself. Right, well, who was I telling that to? That's what's been really freaky about having Sammy around. It doesn't happen often, but yeah, I mean, he's one of these people who came to help and to teach. And a master teacher does that simply by standing in a room. And then everybody else comes to their own truth just by virtue of the teacher hanging out. It's kind of like that with him. But it was good to articulate it. And of course he went, yeah, whatever. Blah. But I understood that, yeah, there are some people who really, that's not on their windshield. And for a long, long time, you just freaked me the fuck out. And now I see that I have this ability within, and I have beauty within, and I have things inside of me that I'm proud of that that don't necessarily correlate with, a video library or a bank account that's fat or whatever. But they're things that I'm proud of about myself, and they're beginning to outweigh the things that I'm nervous about or would rather not mention. And so going back to the shadow just for a moment, and this other people thing and the projection thing, I think that in this physical reality, it's been easy for us to forget that we are watching a projection. We're watching a play, but it's shadow puppets. And it's we who have, prior to coming in and playing, we thought the content up and the general trajectory, and we're the ones who are glowing, and we put our hands up to our glow and we do this, blah blah blah, and then on the wall there's the giraffe, and there's the bunny rabbit, and there's the man, and there's the woman. And I think that we've just become so identified with these characters, not understanding they don't even have substance. They're projections, not just projections of a physical reality, but they're the negative projections. They're the inferred reality. And that as the angels we are, as the gods and goddesses we are, as the creative spark of source that we are, each of us, we're the ones doing the projection. If we are making things that are scary and what we consider ugly, and then we stare at our shadow play and snarl and spit, that's bizarre. If we're doing this, we may as well do things that are at least bring us joy, make us laugh, not scare us. But best to realize that this is just all us having a romp. It's a very wonderful metaphor, and I thank my friend Elizabeth for bringing it to our attention during a conversation. Well, I've had a really wonderful weekend, and I feel healed of things. I feel ready to begin anew, and I feel like I'm in place. If that makes any sense, I feel like there's been these. I can see two grooves where feet would go, and in this shadow of a person, and then me slamming into it. I just feel like there's been some sort of lineup. It feels really good. I know that there's been some solar activity, some plasmic activity, and I say some. And then I watched an incredible astrologer, which I will put up with this on my website. Blew my mind. Rick Levine, amazing, amazing astrologer. So much fun, and really, he reminds me a lot of Enrique Boron because his fund of knowledge is so vast. It's just it was a blast listening to him. Um, I feel this sense of urgency has been removed. I need to go forward. I need to go forward. I need to go. It's gone. I have a sense that this week I'm going to be feeling a lot more of this settling in. I don't really feel like there's a lot of gooses coming right now inside my person. I don't have any control over what the people are going to do or what their timing is, but inside, it feels real solid. 2222, and that's why I come to you, because I think that when I reach certain times, certain places, it's not a bad thing to sit and explain what I'm sensing and aware of, the impact I think it's going to have in my daily life, the impact it has had in my daily life, the improvements that I've found, and I don't know. I think that's a kind of a nice public service, don't you? I think you do. You must, because it's 23:05. So if you're still with me, you must concur. If you don't concur, then you are conflicted. All right, I have a great week. I don't know if I'll be back this week. I might. But be of good cheer and fear not. Be of good cheer and fear not. Be of good cheer and fear not.